So welcome everybody to another live session in Q&A. We are thrilled to have our event sponsor with us today, Karen Burniston, in cahoots with Riley & Co. I can say that all. It's a mouthful. We are thrilled to have them here. We want to thank you so much for being an event sponsor. If you are at a kickoff, you saw a sneak preview of what they do, but now we're going to delve into a lot more detail and a lot more information about. Do you call yourself KB Riley, Karen Burniston? What is the name?
So I know so it really, our website is my name, KarenBurniston.com. So, the company name is technically KB Riley. The KB stands for Karen Burniston. The Riley obviously stands for Riley, but, most of the time, people just talk KarenBurniston.com because that's, where that's what our website is.
So thank you so much for being a sponsor for today, for the whole summit, And our sponsor for today is Creative Fabrica as well. So we have our day sponsor as well, which we've talked about earlier. So we're going to dive right in. And we always start this stuff, Karen, by asking you some general questions. So where in the world are you? That's always a great one to start with.
I am in Katy, Texas. So that's a suburb of Houston is where I live.
Excellent. I never does the picture the right way. How did you... So good question for you. Are you a card maker, scrapbooker, paper crafter, or more than that?
So really these days, I'm mostly just a card maker. But I spent many, many years as a scrapbooker as well, including putting interactive pop-ups on my scrapbook pages, because why not, But nowadays with the dies, they mostly, they're, I shouldn't say, a lot of people do buy them and use them on their scrapbook layouts as well. But for the most part, they're card making dies. So, and it keeps me so busy. I would love to do other crafts, but I got no time. This keeps me very busy.
You're very busy, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
How did you get into this? Like, how did you get into being, first of all, doing paper crafting and then creating a business around it?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. We have good questions. So I've always kind of been a crafty person, from like back making, bird things out of popsicle sticks and all that kind of stuff as a kid. And then when I was in college, I got my first rubber stamp. We had taken a college trip out to San Francisco, and there was an actual rubber stamp store out there. And I bought this big jumping frog stamp. It was the only stamp I owned. And I would just stamp it on the back of all my letters and everything, with Christmas cards, everything. I just used this one jumping frog, and I would draw Santa hats on him and all this kind of stuff. So that's kind of was my first foray into getting into card making. And that lasted for many years, where I was just kind of a stamper. Then I kind of got into scrapbooking. Then I just started submitting stuff to magazines. I won a big contest, a scrapbooking contest back in 2002. And things just start to snowball. Like, that's how the industry was back then. I don't, how long you all have been in the industry, but, that opens doors. Like when you win one of the, nowadays we don't even have the magazines anymore. But back then, like being what was considered a Hall of Famer, that was like a big deal. So, then, it worked its way into designing products for some companies. And, I was taking my little templates to make pop-up cards and doing them with traditional scrapbooking materials. And then Sizzix came knocking. So that was my first thing. And then I turned it into die designer. So I spent 5 years at Sizzix, 3 years with Elizabeth Craft Designs. And then Tanya and I opened our company in 2017.
Okay.
That's fantastic. And
so I thought you were affiliated with Elizabeth Craft at one point. Okay, thank you. Makes me feel better knowing. I'm not using it.
Those 3 years. Those were licensing gigs. So with licensing gigs, gigs, I should add.
Yep.
What is my language here? I was a licensed artist for those two companies. So that just means that, you do the design work and then you license it to them, and then, they produce it and all that kind of stuff. So when that, those contracts, they're, like I said, like 5 years with Sizzix, 3 years with Elizabeth Craft Designs. They don't last forever. So then in 2017, I was kind of ready to be done with the licensing. I really just wanted to kind of have a little bit more control over like the packaging and, just how I wanted to present the dies. So, and Tanya was looking for a new opportunity. So we just went in cahoots with each other.
That's it. And Tanya's in her comments, by the way.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. I assume it's Tanya. It says Riley and Company, so I'm assuming it's Tanya.
Yeah, it is Tanya.
She's just saying hi.
See the comments. So yell out if somebody asks me a question.
You can. It's on the bottom in the
chat.
Will. On the inside.
Okay. Will you let me know? I have the split.
It's okay. Screen. I'll display them. Don't worry about it when they come through. One question That's always fascinates me with people. And I think this is great for people to hear because they don't usually get into a designer's mind. So how do you come up with your designs? Like you're sitting there, how do you come up with something new that you offer them? What's the process you go through?
Wow. Well, it is nice having a business partner, Tanya, and then we have a couple employees as well and stuff. And so one thing we have is we just kind of have a Google Doc that people can contribute to where they're just kind of throwing ideas in the mix,
Okay.
So sometimes I'll go to that doc and say like, okay, well, what were some themes that we were thinking about doing? And then, you try to, I always start with the pop-up. So I kind of start with the pop-up dies and then the decorator dies sort of fall in behind that, So if you've decided that you're going to make a pop-up castle, then maybe the decorator dies, you need to go with that as a little princess and a little knight and dragon and, things like that. So usually it's the pop-ups. That's the start. We have like over 75 of them. So I'm not going to say it's like, you do have to still be thinking like, oh, okay, well, what else can I pop up, but so far we've been able to come up with new ideas.
And do you, like when you get the idea, how do you move from an idea to turning it into a pop-up? Like, is it practice? Do you do the pop-up? What do you do to get it to the point where it pops up?
So I draw everything in Illustrator. So I'm even the decorator dies and stuff like that. But I do have like a drawing tablet, so I can, but it's all digital. So I digitally draw things. But sometimes with the pop-ups, you literally have to just take a piece of paper and your scissors and sit there and, just play with paper until you kind of figure out what it is. And then I'll just go make it perfect on the computer. I'll go in and say, okay, well, that really has to be 1/16 of an inch off of here or whatever. But sometimes just figuring out how I want the paper to move is a matter of like, just playing with paper and just, kind of messing with the folds and seeing how I think those will work. And then I do test everything. Like I have an electronic die cutting machine or, cutting machine that I use that I can test those before they go off to be manufactured and make sure that I think they're going to work right and everything. So.
Yeah, because this is a comment which I agree, a creative mind for sure to be able to design these pop-ups, right? Because I don't think not everybody can kind of think in that 3D mentality to think about how it's going to pop up and how it's going to look when it pops up.
Yeah, there's that part. I mean, people ask me all the time, that part is actually the easiest for me because like I said, like my background is engineering, it's not art. So it's way harder for me to draw a butterfly than it is for me to make a pop-up something. You know what I mean? So it's like, I get the pop-up and I'm like, oh man, this is great. And I'm like, oh, I gotta fill this thing with, cute little elements, and then I have to sit there and figure out if I can draw all those little elements, but it's fun. I love what I do. It's really quite a rewarding thing. And I mean, one of the best things is when those dies get out there and people get them and start using them and start, it just brings joy. I mean, everybody loves a pop-up card. They are not just for kids or anything like that. I mean, I love it when I have a student say like, oh, I'm going to send this to my sister. She'll never believe I made it. Like, that's one of my favorite things is when people are excited to make and send the cards. So
and that's and that makes sense. Cause like you said, it's not just for kids. We're all kids, right? Or it brings the kid back out of us.
Right. I mean, who wouldn't love to get a card in the mail that just, you open it and something, I mean, that's cool. That's cool for anybody.
Well, and that's kind of the fun part about it too, is that
we lost you a bit,
it's a
Heather.
fun community. It's something that can be done. Oh, am I here again?
Yeah.
Yep.
For just a second.
Yeah. I probably have too many windows open on my computer. That might be me being guilty of that. No, what I was saying is part of the cool part is that there's a creative community when you bring a creative community together. And one of the things our presenters love the most is seeing what you create. And I think we've been telling the participants that all the time is like, post what you create because they love to see how you take what they make and turn it into something.
Oh, that is the best thing. So my favorite part of the whole design process is because the first people to get the dies are the design team. So we have a design team. They're amazing. They're international. They're from all over. Two are Canadians. So when they get the dies, because before that, it was just been me, it's just been me designing it and then doing the packaging. And I'm like sort of the only one playing with these dies. And then we get to send them out. So the first tier is the design team gets them. And then they're starting to post their ideas. Of course, those are private until until the release. But that's like one of my favorite things is that they get them and then they're doing things with them that I never even dreamed. You know what I mean? And then the next tier is, and then they go out to the world. And then, you know, when I see all those cards coming in on our Facebook group and stuff like that, it's just, I mean, it's amazing. It's very rewarding.
That's awesome. One of the things you guys are giving. So if you go onto the Meet the Speaker page, you can sign up for a chance for a draw for a gift certificate and some instructions. So you have with you the project. Is that correct?
I do.
You gonna demo?
Do you want me to?
You can switch cameras, sure.
My camera a little bit here.
There you go.
This is the. So this was a class that I taught. I don't know how long ago, and this was just like the most popular card from that class. Like people love this card, but I picked this one as our handout giveaway, our project giveaway, because I liked that it had 4 dies in it, and it was a really good mix of the brands. So this one says, "Every hour is happy at the beach," and it actually has like a cute little beach bar that pops up in there. So this one uses actually 4 of our die sets. And well, like I said, I kind of picked it because it was such a good mix of dies. So it uses our little tiny house. And then we have a add-on set that turns it into a beach bar. And then we have some cute beach borders and then some beach words. So it kind of like, you know, had a little, all the types of dies that we do, both pop-ups, add-ons, and decorator dies. But what you'd be getting if you go fill out your little form and everything is, first of all, you're in the running for we're going to give away a $50 gift card to our website. And then you will get by PDF within a couple days, within like 48 hours. So we'll collect all those emails and then we'll send it out as a batch email. You'll get this really, really nice detailed handout for that card. And don't feel like you have to make it in these colors. You know, you've got all of the cutting instructions and everything, and you can just substitute your own colors. I was kind of working on one, you know, just go to your scrap, you know, go to your stash and just find some pretty colors and you can make that card.
I like the little crabs. Very cute little crabs.
Yeah, they're very small. Little crabs. So
no, that's excellent. And how long does it take for someone to put that card together, like to do the pop-up? Is it someone who's if they're new or if they're skilled, how long does it take to do that?
Well, let's see. It sort of depends on the pop-up, you know, like they're all pretty easy. Some are more time consuming than others. But one thing that we do is we have assembly videos for all of the dies. And, you know, that's even for things like those borders and decorator dies as well. But so you can go watch an assembly video. And then we also have like instructions on the back flap of our packaging as well for the pop-ups to kind of show you what to do. So how long is it going to take? Well, okay, for me, picking the colors is like one of the, you know, the longest thing, picking your colors. But then once you pick your colors, you know, you just have to die cut it and put it together. So I don't know, you're probably going to spend an hour. I don't know. I mean, it depends. Some people probably take like way more time than that. Yeah. But the actual pop-up part, I like to say your paper to pop up in 5 minutes, you know, that part is not hard. Once you've got your die cutting done and you're just working the folds that are in that piece and assembling it and putting it together, 5 minutes.
Yeah. Somebody was asking where you can find it. Riley and Co. Please don't share the link here because the link is only for unless it's your own link. It's only for the people signed up. How you find it? It's on the Meet the Speaker page. So when you go in, hit the welcome page at the top, click on Meet Your Speaker, and scroll down to the sponsor. And you will see there's actually I can show you, but there's just a place that says sponsor. And in it, there's a link for you to click, and that takes you to the form to sign it up. And
if ever you cannot find it, you can email me as well, and I'll forward it to you as well.
I will make it. So if you go to this page,
show us there.
Entire screen. There we go. Share. Is my screen showing? There we go. So if you go to the Meet the Speaker page, you can go from the daily schedule. So at the top of the daily schedule, just hit Meet the Speaker and then scroll down and you'll see they're the first ones there. So event sponsor, they have that. You can check out their website. And if you click here, you'll pop into a Google Doc. And on the Google Doc, you can fill out all the information and that's where it'll be sent to you. And so it's in the Meet the Speaker page. And it's right there. Easy. There, if you're having any problems with any of our links, there, without getting too technical, we were having a caching problem. So what happens is websites take a picture of your page, and if you change it, that picture stays in the world for a while. So there were a few links that weren't working because it was cached. So I cleared all the caching, which means it should be in a new copy and all the links should work. But if you ever have any issues, just respond to any of our emails and we will send it off to you. But that's how you would get it. And we really appreciate it too. But where are the giveaways? So people are asking, where are the giveaways? We do not do giveaways like you may see in other summits. So there's a combination of free offers similar to this, and that's all on that same page, Meet the Speaker page. Riley and Co. Sorry, KB Riley, I will get them right, and Riley and Co.
Right.
As sponsors are doing a draw for a gift card. That's, you're going to enter it into them, and they are going to be doing the draw for the gift card. The reason we do not do giveaways like many other summits do is because we're Canadian and our laws are very different. And we would have to ask you a skill testing question, and a whole bunch of other complexities come into it. Oh yeah, we have to do skill testing questions. They could be 5 + 5 = 10. It doesn't matter, but those are the types of things we have to do. So we don't do a whole bunch of giveaways. It's just simpler, keeps us focused on what we're doing, which is bringing you amazing people who are sharing amazing content. So if you're here for giveaways, that's not what we have, other than our sponsors who are really generously offering a draw for a giveaway. So
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Because I bet you others would think of this. So what is your favorite adhesive to, make the pop-ups last?
Oh, my very favorite. Can I change my camera again?
Of course.
Is this
Okay.
Lineco neutral pH adhesive. It's like a PVA, but it dries clear, it dries fast, it's super strong, and it will hold up to our humidity down here in Texas, and those pop-ups stay together. And when I'm telling you, these pop-ups go out on the road with me, and like there's all these people opening them and closing them, and they hold together. And then the way I dispense it, oh, I'm so sorry, somebody's trying to call me during my summit. Stop that. We have these fine tip bottles, and they come empty, so you can put your favorite glue in them. But I absolutely love these bottles for dispensing the glue because, you can get a really fine line for doing all that detail work. And then the way you keep your glue flowing is you just put a damp paper towel in the bottom of any kind of jar. Like all I do in the morning is I just come in and I squirt it with a little water, to keep that paper towel damp. And then you keep that needle tip down in that paper towel and your glue will just stay flowing. You're not sitting there unclogging it. If you've ever had like a fine tip glue, you're unclog it sometimes, but that is my very favorite glue. And I use it for absolutely everything. So this entire card was put together with that glue. So.
Wow.
Great trick too for glues, because they do get sticky no matter what you're using it for.
Yeah.
Someone had a great question is, what made you pick using traditional dies as opposed to digital cutting files?
So that is a good, you guys have good questions, really good questions. So really a lot of the reason that I like to do the manual dies is because of all the effects you can get with it. So, I do a lot of stencil features in die sets. So after die cutting, there's, open areas on the die that you're going to use a pen or some ink through, and then you're going to get like a layered effect, or maybe it's a little animal face or something on that die. We have some dies, in fact, even this tiny house die that I used on this card has an actual stamping feature on it. So if you ink that die and then you send it through your machine, it will both die cut and stamp at the same time. And then the other thing too is just, with manual dies, you're setting the size, right? So the problem, I guess, a little bit with like getting too much into all the electronic die cutting and all that kind of stuff is that then people start to move lines. Does that make sense? Like they're moving lines within their files, and then things maybe aren't working the way they want them to. And so it just seems like a lot more, you have to do a lot more help and stuff on that. Whereas the manual dies, it's like, we're going to make it. It's going to look great. It's going to work every single time. Everything is, set to exactly precision where it needs to be for it to work every single time. So
you've done the engineering ahead of time. You've made the die so it works, right?
Yes. And I know it's going to work. Like I know that when you buy that die and you die cut it, it's going to put the score lines exactly where they need to be. Like, I know it's going to work.
Yes.
And I just like the way they look, I do a little bit of, and, obviously I have an electronic die cutting machine too. I mean, there's some really, really cool things that people are making with e-files and things like that. So I don't, I have nothing against it. I just happen to have a real passion for the manual dies and what we can do with them, you know.
Well, that makes sense though, because I can see in a pop-up card precision, and if you change anything, then you could easily not have it work just because you tweak something or you didn't cut it the right size, or
right, or maybe you shrunk it a little bit too far because, like, you know, some things are slots, and so you've got to be able to get the paper through that slot. So as you can imagine, you know, with files, you can just make them as huge or as small as you want to be. But then at a certain point, when you're making it too big, your slot's too big, and when you're making it too small, your slot's too small. So it, you know, I mean, I'll never say never, but like right now, I absolutely love just working with manual dies. And
it makes sense. It also gives you a certain level of accessibility, right, for people who are not having the computer machines or playing with those things.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And I'll tell you, I find that, you know, there's a lot of stamps and dies out there. Everybody's got their own, you know, niche and style, but I don't see a lot of the pop-up dies this way at all. So I find it's different. It's unique, you know.
There are
some, but
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely like our niche, you know. And we're just kind of like I think we mentioned that last night on the meet and greet was, you know, it's kind of like a small niche boutique die company. We do have we just brought out a new product category of a few like just little greeting stamps. You know, sometimes you need a little greeting that you can't quite get in a die. You know, you need to get a little smaller than that. So we do have a few greeting rubber stamps, or clear stamps, I should say. But for the most part, we're a die company, and we're making cards with dies. So the difference there is, you know, you don't have, we're doing all of our coloring with paper, right? So it's not, you don't have to be an excellent colorer, if that makes sense, to make these kind of cards, because all of the dies are going to layer with paper. So you're making all your colors with paper, whether that's pattern or, you know, maybe you're going to do a little bit of inking or something, but you don't have to get your markers out in color to do these cards. You can, I mean, we play real well with others. So all of those wonderful stamp companies like Riley and Company, you know, you can stamp and just, you know, we want to be that little black dress for all of your cards, you know, your interactive cards. But within our company, we're basically making cards with dies, with standalone dies. So it's kind of a little bit of a different look, you know.
Oh, it is. It's very unique. And then again, because maybe it was yesterday too, you know, you showed us some, which I'm going to get you to show them more of. But some with, you know, again, that popped out a lot of, I'm going to say pictures, because I'm the scrapbooker. Okay. But today you also mentioned putting it on a scrap page, which I'm like, oh, I heard that. And I went, yeah, my whole little light bulb in my head went, oh, I'm writing this down. I can do this. So anyways, I don't know, maybe it's either if you could show us a few more, but also I'm thinking on a scrap page, because again, I've done some things on layouts where once you put in your page protector, I'll cut through the page protector to take, you know, the paper out. I'm guessing, is that kind of what you're doing or just keeping it in the protector? Because I know people might ask that.
No, what I would do, because you want to be able to open it, right? So let's find a card that would be so perfect for a scrapbook layout. I'm going to grab.
I would say even that one would be if you were going on celebrating your vacation in the.
Yeah, this would be too. But you mentioned having one that had a bunch of photos on it. So we have a brand new die called our Photo Fan, and it. So wouldn't that be cute, you know, for on a scrapbook page? So if you're going to do a scrapbook page with the die, so my suggestion is, you know, you make your page, whatever size you're making, and you figure out where, you know, so you're just going to make your card, you know, that has your pop-up in it like you normally would. And then, like you mentioned, you're going to glue that to your page. So maybe you have some photos up here and embellishments, whatever. But then as far as with the page protector, my suggestion is you slide your page. Now you've got your card attached. So you slide your page into your page protector, and you just take something like, I would probably use something like a paper piercer, where you can just mark the four corners on your page protector of your card. Okay. Then you take your page out, and then you're going to take, well, I would probably use my craft knife, but, you know, you're going to basically cut your page protector like this, these three sides, right? So basically you just made a flap in your page protector that corresponds exactly to where your card is. Okay, then you slide your piece back in, and then now you've got a flap. So then what's nice is that this is protected. So this is under a page protector. What I would often do is I would just take a little staple, and I would just staple that page protector flap right to the front of the card. So, you know, they're flipping through your you know, your scrapbook album, and then they get to this page, and this is all under the page protector, but it's just open. You can just open it right there on the page.
You can even use, the earth tone magnets that we use in the chipboard album. So you've got me thinking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that'd be great. You can.
You wait. I'll be
a little string
trying some
closer.
clients this.
Yeah. There's another. Well, wish I'd grabbed it. I wish I had a photo collage right here to show you, but yeah. So you mentioned you wanted to see some cards. I'm happy to show you some cards.
Sure,
it's not
go
like
ahead.
My whole office isn't full of them.
If you have some, go ahead. Someone says they want that fan.
Yes, this is called a Photo Fan Pop-Up. It's one of our brand new ones.
That's gorgeous.
That's a new one. And then we have, what's real popular right now is postal themed cards. And so we have a new one called our Postage Pop-Up, and it will pop up a little postal, collage, and you can use that. What's the real magic of that one is that really generic box pop-up underneath there, because you'll end up using that for a lot of things. So kind of the way that on the design side, dies are an investment. So what I try to do with dies is when I'm designing it, I want to give you the pop-up, and then I want to give you enough decorator pieces where you can make a great card using just that die set, because maybe that's all you can get today. It's that one pop-up die set, and we don't want it to be where you get home and you don't have anything to decorate it. So, we'll keep, making other dies that go great with it. But within that set, you can see there's 13 pieces in that tiny house. And it's not only the pop-up that makes the house, but it's the little flowers and the window boxes and the little door and, all of that stuff comes with it. So with that one die set, you've got enough to make a really cute card. And there's that stamp feature we were talking about, where you can ink up the die and run it through, and then it will stamp it at the same time. So everything you see here, including those little stepping stones, comes in that tiny house pop-up. So that foundation die right there has everything. Now, I've added some other things. You can see the welcome home. That's obviously, some of our word dies. And we've got some borders out here and some other things. But this pop-up right here, everything that you would need to decorate that, from the little flower boxes to the windows, even those cute little hearts, are in that set. And then
hold it, sir. When you close it, I want to see you close it slower.
Oh, no problem.
I'm curious how it folds a bit. I don't have the engineer in me, but I'm like, solid.
So what's happening with this one is the box is kind of twisting one way, the roof is kind of twisting the other, and when it hits the card, it collapses down. It's really fun. It's just, if you get one, make it in a clear card, and then you can really see what it does, right? Then you can see it in the flat position too. Throw it in a clear card if you want to really get a good thing. Okay, so that's our tiny house pop-up. So that's a die that we would consider a foundation die. And what I mean by that is, you can use it on its own, make tiny houses all day long, and that's great. But then we have a whole series of add-on sets that fit that tiny house. So once you start getting into the add-on sets, you can add just pieces that will add some new element to it. So like here's our little mushroom house, tiny house add-ons, right? So it adds this rounded mushroom roof and the little, rounded windows and doors and things. So you're still using your tiny house for the base, but then you've got an add-on set that just adds on some new pieces. So that's the little mushroom house. And here's another one with mushroom house in it.
They're so cute.
Okay. And then, there's other ones, right? So you can get a haunted tiny house add-ons. So you're still using your tiny house, but now with the add-on set, you're getting, little ghosties and, jack-o'-lanterns and spider webs and crooked, crooked windows and falling shutters, and all that stuff comes in that little add-on set. Here's another one that's a haunted tiny house. And then we have a gingerbread house. So again, that's the gingerbread house add-on. So you're kind of getting the idea. It's like once you've invested in that foundation die, then you can start getting new add-on sets, and you're not repeating pieces. You're just getting the new pieces that you would need to style it for something. And we'll just keep coming out with those. So that's what's so great is we don't retire dies. We just come out with new add-ons and
I love that one.
Them.
Yeah.
I can imagine the people here, but appreciate the thought that you're putting into it, right? Because it's an investment in their crafts, but you're letting them find ways to reuse it and reuse it and reuse it.
Yeah,
and I think that's
it's actually really good.
Well, and it helps us too. Cause like we only release about 40 dies a year. A lot goes into them on the design side. I'm not going to lie. Like when we were talking about the design side, when I'm busy designing, there might be like 100 failed prototypes on my floor in this office. And it's like you could just come in and kick them, and they're going all over the place. And it's just something that I was working on. So by the time you take the time to develop it and then produce it, and then you've got to do a YouTube video to teach people how to use it, and we do classes to show people how to use it. I mean, I don't want to retire that die in 6 months. You know what I mean? So to keep things fresh, we just will come out with a new add-ons for something. So we have only discontinued one die in how many years have we been in business? 7 years. And we have about 300 dies now. So here's
That's very good what you just said, because I'm also very used to something comes out. I tell my clients, like, you've got to grab it now. It's going to be discontinued, like, really next month. And just, it's good because, like you said, if people aren't sure, or if they're going, maybe it's more expensive or something, then they're like, hang on, now I'm ready to buy it. Because just like you said, there's add-ons, or give me a month to think about it. It won't be discontinued yet.
Yeah, no, it won't.
So that's good.
Yeah, we'll just come out with a new look for it. Here's a little school. So you can see all of these are made with a tiny house, and there's this different add-ons. And then the last one is the one that is part of the, the handout that you all would be getting. So in that beach bar tiny house add-ons, if you wanted to make that card that you're getting the handout for, you can see these are the pieces that you're getting. So it's, and it'll tell you this is size to fit the tiny house. So it's got all these pieces to go with it. And those decorator pieces that come included in these die sets, so all the pop-ups have decorator dies in them. And those can be used outside of the pop-up, obviously. So, you just need a cute little flamingos and some cocktails and some palm trees, that's in that set, whether or not, you're combining it with the tiny house.
Someone wanted to ask, do the die sets say whether it's foundational die or an add-on?
So the best thing, they don't actually say, because the funny thing is that we'll turn things into foundation dies that weren't originally, that way. So what the best thing to do is if you go on our website, if you go on KarenBurniston.com and you go to the shop, there'll be, different things that you can look at. I don't know that we've actually made a category for foundation, but Tanya, we need to. So if Tanya's still here, Tanya, we need to do that. But when you go to the add-ons category, you'll see all of the add-ons. So you'll see add-ons that fit the ball dies, and add-ons that fit the tiny house, and add-ons that fit, the oven. There's all sorts of add-ons on there. And they'll always say on the packaging what they fit. If it says add-ons, then it'll say right here which die set it fits, and that's your foundation die for that add-ons.
Okay. Okay.
But when I say they don't say foundation dies, because like, for instance, like this cute little snowman, this is the die set we offer. And originally, just makes that snowman. But then in our latest release, we kind of turned this into a foundation die by coming out with a new add-ons for it, where you can turn it into a little reindeer or a penguin. So, so that's what's nice, is it's a little savvy. That's not a word. Sorry. It saves you a little bit of storage space too, right? Because you don't have to have like an independent die set for every single thing you want to make. You can invest in those, kind of classic foundational dies. And then the add-ons are going to be, a smaller footprint for you to store as well. So
that's awesome. Debbie asked, are your sets ever discontinued? And you said you've only discontinued one?
Yeah, it wasn't a pop-up. It was a label that held a gift card. I actually really liked it, but somebody came in for a big, huge event, and they needed a die for a big event, and they bought like every single one we had. And it wasn't like selling enough where we were like, are we gonna like reorder that? You know what I mean? It was kind of one of those. So it's it's just because somebody just kind of bought us out on that one. But other than that, we have every single die that we've ever had are still available on our website.
So here's a challenge. Somebody says, show a card with the oven die.
Okay, I can do it. Okay,
may have to hunt down for it.
But I know they're in here because I have all of these things. So let's see. Do you have any other questions for me while I look?
While she hunts down this, I don't think I hunt down
an oven card.
Well, we're getting a lot of love. People love your dies. They love the way that you're putting it together. So cute, so much fun.
How many of you have used her dies?
A good question.
I think some of you have, based on some of the comments, but
this is your oven
will
die?
Start using them.
I found one.
There you go.
Challenge accepted. And here on this front of this card, you see all of these cute little cookie sheet and cookies and spatulas and oven mitt. That comes with that oven pop-up. So that's what I'm talking about. That you get enough with the base die to make a cute card. So everything you see here, other than your suite, comes in.
Sorry, I like how the spatula is hanging off of the tray there, like the stove.
You just have to, and then the oven door opens as well.
Oh my god!
So Yeah. And then we have 2 little oven extras that you can get. So there's an extra set that will give you like upper cabinets and a range hood and a little mixer. And I think there's only 1 oven extra. Sorry, I think in the fireplace. Fireplace has 2 extras, but I think oven just has 1 extra so far. But yeah, and then there's border sets that have like pies, where you can put little pies in the oven. So everything plays really, really well with others. That's important to the brand.
In answer to your question, lots of people have them. And then there's one woman who wrote, I don't have them all yet.
Okay. Challenge.
Here's a great question for you. This is a really good one. What is a great beginner die set to get?
How did you say that? Right when I was grabbing one of the best beginner die sets. Actually, you know what? I'm going to grab another one here. Okay. I'm going to grab 2. We gave 2 choices because these are consistently ranked there. Whenever people on our Facebook group, the pop-up peeps, whenever they ask, sorry, I'm making a mess here. What should I start with? I'm overwhelmed, is everyone says they love the Catherine label. And this is one of the first dies we came out with way back in 2017. And it is so desperately simple. It just has a mechanism that will lift up whatever you put on it. Now it's going to come with those labels. It doesn't come with happy birthday. That's a word set, but it does come with those nested labels come with it. You don't have to make it a window card. That's just one of your options, but it's really simple. And the fun thing about pop-ups is that you can also start exploring, are we doing it as a top fold card? So now it's got a side to side motion. Are we doing it this way? Are we putting more than one inside the card so that we're having this label go this way and this label go this way? Because you choose your card size. So it doesn't have to be a square card. It just has to be big enough to hold the pop-up. So Catherine labeled. So that's die number 1011. So if you're on the website, 1011. And then a newer die named after my late grandmother, who's one of my favorite people in the world, is our Lorna label pop-up. So this one's also a really, really easy kind of glue in generic design. So it has no theme whatsoever. You can see the piece, you die cut it, you fold it up, you glue it inside the card and you decorate it. And it comes with little decorator labels and things. And then we've used some of those, our little animals here and some of our border sets and words and stuff on this card. But, and there's those pies. I was telling you that pie border. So cute in the oven.
That is cute.
But the Lorna label pop-up is now actually a foundation die as well, because there are 3 add-ons that you can get for it that will turn it into like a floating word. So there's just a note to say, there's a happy birthday. I just saw that happy birthday right here. This was so you see that happy birthday. I'll show you this card in a second. And then we have a brand new one that is Merry Christmas. So I think that's this one. So see, all you're getting with add-ons is you're getting the floating piece, so you still need your foundation die of your Lorna label, but then you have 3 options to change it out to different things. This is kind of a fun thing. I don't know how many of you all make light up cards, but Pear Blossom Press is, Amanda, they're just amazing. And they have the most amazing lights that you can use for your light up cards. And they came out with a new one called a candle light. And so I taught a class with the candle light. So you can see here on the front of this one, it says, push here and make a wish. So I'm going to push, open, the light is on, and it says right here, blow out the candle, and y'all.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, geez, and it works.
It's the most amazing light. But yeah, so and you're seeing here too with the same die, just different card sizes, because you're really choosing your card size with these dies. It'll always tell you on the packaging like what your minimum card size is, but you can always go bigger. And some of them are really slimline friendly. A lot of people like to make slimline cards, so some of them work really great for that. Yeah. Let's see. And some of them are kind of showstoppers, right? So some of them are just the ones where you get them and, the people are just going to be like, oh my gosh, So,
wow.
So that's, I think, why it was hard for me to answer your question about how long do they take? Well, it's not that they're any harder. It's just that they might have more pieces or something of what you're putting together. So that's our House of Cards pop-up.
Sorry, with the House of Cards, is that a stamps that are in, or to get the actual like clubs and spades and stuff there?
It's dies. These are dies.
Oh, they're die. Okay, that you put on. Okay.
They come in the set.
Okay.
Now you can also cut the House of Cards out of actual playing cards. And we actually have some on our website that are sized perfectly for that die, where you can just actually cut through actual playing cards and assemble the House of Cards. And that's a cool look as well. This one's just made with paper. But it does come, it does come with the little, you can only make aces. It doesn't come with, you know what I mean? You only make aces with the dies that come in it, but you can cut actual playing cards if you want to, and then you can have all the different suits and
that's cool.
And things.
Now with like I'm going to say the more intricate ones, what weight of cardstock do you use, like either for the outside of the card or for the dies themselves? Because I'm guessing on the outside you have to have something fairly sturdy to.
Depends on the die, and again, excellent questions. Oh, you're good with questions. So it sort of depends on the die. So, and the other thing too is if you're planning on layering it up, you know what I mean? Then, I mean, what I kind of just generally tell people, man, if you have that just sort of standard 80-pound cardstock, you know, that kind of medium weight cardstock, you're probably set for 95% of the dies. There are some that I recommend the heavyweight cardstock. So that could be the 100-pound cardstock or 110. And I don't know the GSMs. I'm sorry. I don't know how is it in Canada. Do they do it?
No, Dora, we'll go with the 100-pound as well. Even though I know we do metric, but not in this world.
Not in the crafting.
Not
world.
In half the world, actually. We're very mixed up.
When you get to the dies that are like the accordions, I really like the heavyweight cardstock for that because I just like them when they're really solid and they don't, you know, it's not that it wouldn't work. I just think that they look a little nicer, you know, when you use the heavier cardstock. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't, like this one, I can tell I didn't, but I was putting a frame on it anyway. So, you know, and then there are a few, surprisingly, then you just watch the assembly video and I'll always tell you that I'll say, hey, use the lightest thing you got. You know, like I'm thinking of the coffee cup pop-up. It's kind of, I don't think I have one right. That's one I don't know that I can put my hands right on, but it makes kind of one of those to-go coffee cups. And the lighter weight cardstock is absolutely the best for that because it'll bend easier. So, you know, it sort of depends on the mechanism as which weight cardstock. But if you have a good, you know, whatever your favorite cardstock is, I bet you can make it work. Because even if you had to put a layer of pattern paper, you know, to make it a little stiffer, you could do that.
It makes it thicker.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, do they fit in a regular envelope and did they require extra postage? So I guess that depends what you do.
Yeah, depends what you do. Absolutely, because you're choosing your card size. So, you know, I pretty much try to design most of the pop-ups where they can fit in an A2 as a minimum. Some of them you can go even smaller. You know, you saw some of those little tiny house cards were really tiny. What gets you, you know, if you're not putting a bunch of pop dots on them or anything like that, they'll probably be under 1/4 of an inch. And I actually don't know if the postal in the US is different in Canada, but here in the States, if they're less than an ounce and they're less than 1/4 of an inch thick, then you can just send them, and they're in a regular envelope, you can just send them for a single stamp. But what gets you sometimes is the rigidity, right? Because they want them to be able to bend so they can go through the machines. So then what we have here in the States is you can get like an extra postage stamp that's like 15 extra cents and it's an extra ounce stamp. So sometimes what I'll do is even if it's not actually over an ounce, I'll throw a regular postage stamp and then that extra ounce stamp on. Or we have something called a non-machinable stamp that you can get here in the States. And then you can put that on. And I don't have them come back. I don't, you know. So they melt.
Find out with Canada Post. I don't know this non-machinable stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're so close, but then sometimes.
Are the papers recommendations listed in the package with the die?
You know what? I don't. It's usually in the video because I'm not going to lie to you. When I have to do these little tiny itty bitty instructions, I have 3 boxes to try to explain an entire die set. And I joke with the students and stuff as I say, these are for when you're crafting in the woods without an internet connection and you need to remember how to put it together. But the way you really learn these dies is you go watch the videos. And what we do is we post those assembly videos right on the product page on our website for whatever. That's the easiest way to find them. So you can go to the YouTube channel. You can go to my YouTube channel. You can do the little @Karen Burniston and you can get to the YouTube. But then you kind of have to scroll through the playlist to find the one you're looking or search the channel. Whereas if you just go on the website and you say, well, I want to learn how to make, you know, I want to learn how to assemble. I was looking for the tiny house, but this one, you just put in the search bar 1231 or Beach Bar, and then it'll be right there on the product page would be the assembly video for it. Excellent. And then Facebook, if you're a Facebook user, we have a really active Facebook group. It's called Karen Burniston Pop-Up Peeps. So peeps like Easter peeps. You have to ask to join, but yeah, people are in there posting with the dies from all over the world. It's really inspiring. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Somebody asked, did you show a butterfly card in the opening party? We played
yesterday.
your video.
did. Well, you guys are, do I have that particular butterfly card?
We're
Okay.
challenging
I
you.
do.
You are challenging.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that yesterday.
See if I can find it.
Somebody jokingly said maybe include a magnifying glass in the package for the fine print.
Right, I know, right? Well, okay, I will tell you, we also put that back flap instructions on the website, also on the product page. So that's what I tell people is just like go grab that off of the website and print it larger if you need it, so you don't have to get your magnifying glass out.
Because we are getting, the little older we get, the not so good vision.
I am going to the eye doctor on Monday, and I cannot wait because I am really due for a new prescription. I'm gonna find that, but I know that butterfly exists. Are there any?
We're challenging you in finding all the stuff in your.
Well, there's also a bunch of cards in the other room, so I'm not going to leave the room, but I mean, I'm hoping that butterfly has made it into one of the.
What's your most popular die?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably most popular. One of the most popular is the photo collage. So that photo fan that I showed you earlier, that's one of the brand new ones, and it opens a little bit differently than our original photo collage. So the photo collage kind of spins out.
Totally me.
Kind of an explosion of photos. This one is a very popular die. It's the photo collage.
Makes sense.
I like it.
But it's I don't know. I mean, that might be a. You know what? I don't know if I have the butterflies. They're basically the same thing.
They flew away.
Huh?
That's what happened. They just flew away.
I know exactly the card she wants to see too. Oh, rats.
You've done pretty well at finding all your cards. So.
I know. I've done. Oh, wait, one more here. Wait, maybe it's in this one. Could it be in this one?
Well, that was a good question for you too while you're looking.
Yeah.
Is there a starter package you sell that has several of the foundational dies in it?
No, we just sell everything by the on the thing. Sorry.
There's a new idea for you. You can have a starter package.
No, I mean I mean, what I kind of suggest to people do is, there's a couple things. If you're overwhelmed, is you could just start watching videos, right? So go onto the website, go to all dies or all pop-up dies or something like that. And, like I said, there's only like 75 of them. You're going to figure out pretty quickly, like which ones, are on your short list, right? Oh, that one looks intriguing. Oh, I don't think I'm ever going to use a castle, or, there's some that you'll probably be able to eliminate. And then, although challenge accepted, but no, I'm kidding. And then, kind of figure out, and then maybe start start watching some of the videos. Videos are there, they're free. They, watch a video and see how easy it is to put together. And usually on the assembly videos at the end, I'll put in a bunch of cards from the design team using that one. So in addition to the card that I'm showing you how to make, there'll be, 10 cards at the end with other ideas. And maybe that will spark an idea of something you want. Or if you're a Facebook user, go on the Peeps. And if you go on the Peeps and you just say, I'm new, what would you all suggest should be my first die or something like that? They are so generous with their ideas and their time. It's just a really, really, really wonderful group. So
that's awesome. Are people in the Facebook group here? Is there anyone who's in the Facebook group sharing your stuff? Okay, a kit. They're saying or a kit.
We do also do classes. I probably should have mentioned that. So they're virtual. So you can, you can find the information on that on our events tab. So if you're on our website, if you click on the events, it'll tell you what classes are upcoming. With the shipping to Canada, all that, I don't know. But, we also do the virtual classes, and we sell those kits on our website. I think we've sold out of the one for next weekend. So the next one will be after the new year, the virtual class. But you can even watch virtual classes even if you didn't purchase a kit. So, there's a lot of information that goes in with the kit. Like you get the really detailed handouts and you get the prep work video. And there's just like a wealth of information if you are actually a kit holder. But on our virtual classes, we'll even let you watch that class day recording, even if you don't have a kit. So that's another thing that you could watch. So I would say watch videos. You know what I mean? Watch videos and see what strikes you. What do you want to try? And then, ask the Peeps. Everyone asks the Peeps everything. So I didn't find the butterfly. I failed.
That's okay.
Like I
You
said,
haven't failed
it
on
flew
anything.
away.
What's that?
You
I'm just saying
haven't
it
failed
flew
on
away.
anything. So I'm going to put your, if you don't have it, I'm throwing the Facebook link for
Hey?
your group in the comments.
Wasn't that happy birthday one? Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It was hard. I was like,
Well, I found some that are similar to the butterfly, but they don't actually have the butterfly on them. So we have a die that will do a, it's kind of similar to our photo collage, but it's smaller, and it's called our heart collage, and it comes with all these cute little hearts. And then as an add-on set, you can get balloons to fit that, and you can get butterflies. So that card that you saw in the commercial last night used the butterflies on this heart collage. So the butterflies, butterfly collage add-ons. And I found the balloons and I found the hearts, and I didn't find the butterflies.
So somebody asked, what's the name of the butterfly die and what type of mechanism does it have?
So you would be looking for, well, the butterfly collage add-ons themselves, butterfly collage add-ons. Ooh, I don't think I have that number memorized, but put in the search bar butterfly. Those butterflies, it has like the 3D butterflies, and I know a card that has those butterflies on it that Ken made.
it's 1194.
Okay,
both of us are looking.
You can use those butterflies on anything, so you don't have to use the butterflies on the collage. But they were designed to fit perfectly on the heart collage pop-up. But really, any of the pop-ups, you could use those butterflies, and people have.
So the butterflies is an add-on.
Is an add-on, exactly. Okay, I know the card I'm looking for because Ken made it. So it should be in this bin of newer cards, and he used those butterflies. That's the problem, is you got to look on the inside to know what's. I don't have them all memorized from the. Oh, is it this one? Okay. So we have one of our newest design team members, actually from Taiwan. It's Ken Xian. And when you go on the Peeps, I mean, this guy's making art like with the dies, but here's one that he made. So there's the butterflies from the butterfly collage add-on. So you can see the little 3D butterflies opening and fluttering everywhere. But instead of using the heart collage as his base, he used the new photo fan, and he put 2 of them in the card. So see, that's what I'm saying. You can use those butterflies on any pop-up. You know,
That's gorgeous.
Yeah,
That's funny. You just answered one of my questions that was going to come up, because when I saw that, I went, "Is that 1 die or 2?" And you just said it too.
Yeah, 2. So
I was curious. Going, can you put more than 1 in there? Right?
Oh yeah, that is. I will say that's that Ken is all about the he will cram as many mechanisms as he can into one card, and so I think this is one that he sent to. Which, by the way, he used fireworks to make this flower. So look at how many he put in here. He put 3 of the postage pop-ups and a little rockin' rectangle down here. So he's all about cramming a bunch of them in. But we have just a very, very talented design team, and with very different styles. So this Ken he does a very artistic and layered and multi-dimensional style. And then we have other design team members that, like more like kind of clean and simple lines. And some of them are stampers and colorers. And, we just have we're very blessed with our design team. They're wonderful.
So somebody asked a great question, Suzette, who's one of our, we have a crafting circle. We have a scrapbooking fun circle, and Suzette's one of our members. When you're not creating, what do you love to doing in your downtime?
So, okay, my husband and I are big TV fans. Like we have our programs. So we we kind of like to watch TV in the evenings. Lots of, we kind of, I think we subscribe to almost all of those, Like someone will say, "Hey, do you have Hulu?" I'm like, "Of course we do." You know what I mean? So we have all of them. So we do like watch TV, but I like audiobooks as a big one for me. Usually listening to audiobooks or a podcast. Even if I'm working, I'm usually listening to something like that. And then I like word games, like on my phone, so the spelling bee that's every day, and the Wordle and all that stuff. I like to play those every day. But I'm not much of a cook, and I'm not much of a gardener. I mean, this really kind of is my passion. So, that's what I spend most of my time doing.
I love audiobooks as well, because they're great to put when you're doing something like this. You're listening and you get absorbed in them. So
I do. So the question I have is like, can you say you read a book? Like, that's the thing. It's like do you say you listen to a book?
Say listen.
Yeah. It's like if somebody says, have you read such and such, you know, it's, well, yeah, but I listened to it. So is that the same thing anyway?
I listen to books. I don't even listen to music in my car. I always have audiobooks going on my phone, and it just goes on my car, and I do it that way as well. So
same. And
I love
podcasts
audiobooks.
too. Like I just love podcasts, and
Yeah.
so
too.
yeah. Anyway, I found a couple fall themed cards, and I thought, well, maybe I want to see some fall themed cards because it's almost Thanksgiving.
Those are beautiful. I mean, what you've created is amazing, and like I said, this for someone who doesn't paper craft, I could see getting into this because it's just so stand out. Were you an engineer? Yes, she was an engineer. So there you go.
Yeah. Civil was my degree, civil engineering. And the best thing that the engineering, I think we were kind of talking about it backstage before the show, was one of the things that I learned. It was actually my part-time job while I was in college studying engineering, was doing CAD drafting, you know, so computer-aided drafting.
Yep.
That was very useful to me in my future career because understanding computer-aided drafting ended up being the precursor of being able to design. So like when I first got out of college and I was just in a stamp group with my friends, I would just CAD draft these templates like, oh, let's make a pop-up chair or something. And I would draft these templates on the back of the cardstock, you know, that you'd take your craft knife and you'd cut the solid lines and you'd, you know, to your scoring tool, and the dashed lines would be score lines. And then we would, you know, so I was doing that. I was doing templates and even selling templates. Like I had, you know, a whole template thing going for years until the dies. So
it's awesome. And yeah, I have an engineering background too. It helps us learn how to think and solve problems. I think is probably the key thing we learned because we're different types of engineers, but it definitely helps you think outside the box, think in different ways and solve problems. So
absolutely.
Great. So after designing the cards, do you still send cards or is it only for work?
Oh, I'm the worst. I make so many cards and I send so few cards. I've been trying to be better about it. I mean, the problem is like if I make a card, I mean, I don't do as many in-person events. I mean, obviously, you know, back, you know, before times, I did a lot of in-person events. And so then I would want to have a big, huge bin of samples that I could show people or whatever. And so even if I made like the most amazing Mother's Day card ever, I would often just this is going to sound so terrible. Sorry, Mom. I would take a picture and I would send it to my mom. And I'd be like, Happy Mother's Day. I'm going to give you this card one day. I made it fine, but I'm keeping it. But now I try to send them more. So, and it's funny too, I'll tell you a funny story about that is back in the day when I used to teach a lot of in-person classes, and I am a fan of pattern paper. So that's just something I love. I love pattern paper. I love to fill space with pattern paper. It helps me out when I want to spend all my time on the inside, if I can do something simple on the outside and fill that space with paper. So I have way more paper than anybody needs. But when in my earlier days of teaching classes, I would always forget to put something inside where people could sign the card. So you'd have like this big busy paper and there'd be no place for people to sign it. And the students would say, well, where are we supposed to sign this? And I said, what is this word signing? Does this have something to do with mailing? Like, I don't because I didn't send cards. But anyway, so I've learned from my students to always give them a place to sign the card now.
That's awesome. Well, we've made a mess of your office.
Oh, it's okay. It all goes back in the bin.
It all goes back. As I have a ton of cards I've made, but I don't think they're good enough. They're always good enough to send, Sandy. Always good enough to send. When you send it from your heart, send it. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But this has been awesome. So many inspiring cards. They're so beautiful. I would love to receive them. They're gorgeous. Great. People must be very excited then when they receive a card someone's made with your dies because they're so unique. Yeah,
some of the things that people post too, and I was mentioning that Peeps, like I saw one the other day, and I apologize. I can't remember the design or the crafter who made it, but she celebrated her husband's 70th birthday by making an accordion like. Oh, sorry, I turned my camera off, so let me do it this way. An accordion like this, and she just kept going with it until she had literally 70 candles. So that thing, like it stretched all the way out. And then there was another one that a lady made that was celebrating her son's 50th birthday. And she had photos all over the card from his entire life, from when he was a baby up. And like each one would open and it would have a memory underneath it. And like the honor that does that make sense? Like the honor that you feel that they chose to take these like really, really special milestone events. And then they used something that you designed to bring their vision to life and to present that. That's like humbling. You know what I mean? Like I really, I cannot tell you what a thrill that is when I see that. Or they'll post pictures of their grandkids opening a box and snowballs fly out, and and you just think, oh, like people are using these for their grandkids and they're making memories and they're
I
can
think
only
that
imagine somebody's face when they open some. I can picture the grandkids. I'm like, oh my God, they'd be so cute. Look at this movie, they'd be all excited and yeah.
Yes,
I like
Bo
that.
has the not enough complex. Everything you do, I mean, these stuff, most of us can't even think of doing these things, right? So sending them out, we're talking about not being confident enough to send what you make, just send them.
Oh yeah, definitely send them.
We have, always like, and Tracy says this a lot too, is just be a little kid again. Like little kids don't hesitate about bringing the picture that they created in the class and giving it to mommy and hanging it on. And guess what? Mummies don't hesitate to hang it on their fridge.
Right, exactly.
Okay, and we get all this thing. So,
and I will say that the pop-up cards tend to be the ones, I mean, I do get people that say like, these get displayed, because they get it and they're like, oh, wow. And then, you go, I've heard people say that they went over to their friend's house or whatever, and they saw that card they sent them actually up on the mantle or on the shelf or something, in the kitchen. And, that's a nice feeling as well, that you've made this thing, and then people.
Somewhere in our lives, we built in self-critics, and self-critics get in our way, really, because they do. And that's the challenge, right?
I definitely send them,
Send them.
Yeah.
And then you'll get that feedback of how excited they are. And then,
I was just going to say, it would help your confidence actually more than anything. People are going to look at it going, well, I see this or that. It's like, no, it's like, wow, you did this. And you made this? That's pretty amazing. And then they're going to ask you, how did you do that or whatever?
And I will say, copy yourself. I do it all the time. If you have a card that you have made, I think somewhere under the pile here, there's the one that I copied. Oh, sorry, I didn't change my camera. But, you got a card design that you like, just grab some new colors, papers, and copy yourself. Or copy me. I mean, if you're using these dies, go watch the videos and make that exact card. Just choose your own colors or whatever, make a few changes. And a lot of people do that when they're first learning the dies, is they just make whatever I made on the video. They just make that card. I mean, maybe they changed the colors or something, or maybe they didn't. But and then you get the confidence of doing it. The next one, maybe, next one you're like, well, instead of doing an A2 card, I think I'll do a 5x7. Or, instead of putting that on the front, I think I'm going to do this, so.
They are gorgeous. So yeah, I mean, they're so fun. And somebody would, and you know what? There's always going to be people who aren't going to appreciate something handmade, no matter how beautiful it is. That's just the reality of it. But there are many more who will appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So,
and
they're awesome.
And some of the fun is in the making it, right? So, oh, did I freeze?
No, I'm still here.
For a moment, it was just like everything was frozen. I was like, oh.
Every once in a while, it freezes a little bit, but it's good.
Yeah, but the fun is in the making too. I mean, I will tell you, I still have fun. I make these things and I find myself opening and closing them and just watching them. They're fun. They're fun to make as well. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So someone said, if you're not feeling enough, send it to a fellow card maker, or send it to someone you think will criticize your creation. Don't send it to someone you think, send them to a card maker. So it is awesome. Someone else asked one last question, was what type of paper do you love? Do you have a favorite paper?
Oh gosh, any of them. And some of them, I mean, if I opened two of these drawers back here, it's just like packed to the gills with pattern paper going back probably 20 years too. With classes, we tend to use, we'll use Echo Park or Photo Play or Simple Stories. We've used 49 and Market. We recently did a series this summer where we did some Vicky Bouton papers, which were gorgeous, and some Paige Evans. So yeah, we tend to, on the class side, we tend to stick with those, kind of big companies that you can, because there's lots of stores that are making kits. So we want to be able to, everybody able to get the, the paper and stuff. So I find myself, those kind of companies I use a lot because of the classes. But if I find myself in an in-person scrapbook store that has pattern paper, watch out. My wallet, watch out, because I just love all of it.
Somebody said they also make good fidget toys, which was, I was thinking, Tracy knows I fidget. I need to fidget all the time. I am fidgeting with a Slinky as we speak. So I would get one of those cards and I would break it eventually by my fidget world.
You could, we have all sorts of, we have 3 different
Oh my
sizes of
God.
ball dies, and then all these add-ons that will like turn them into different little animals and things like that. And these can be good fidgets too.
Oh yeah, I would be fidgeting to no end. I am a fidgeter. I will 100% admit to it. I always have, like, I have a slinky in my hands right now. I always have something in my hands. Yeah, I've always
like the fidget spinners.
No, I don't know, because I've never had
really?
one. So I stick around with my few things. I've had this slinky for years. But if I'm reading something, I will actually reach out to get something to fidget. To keep my brain busy. It's like almost like an addiction in a way. It's like, okay, I'm going to read something, I'm going to fidget, and then I focus better.
There are so many good fidget tools out there now too. There's just tons of them, which is great.
Somebody says, I want to buy every single die because of this video. I'm going to go broke. So there you go.
Well, you have time. That's one thing about us not discontinuing, is you have time. So you can space it out.
Budget out your dies.
Yeah.
Be happy. So, you'll be happy. All right. You'll spend your money. You better make something when you get your product. And then you'll be like, wow, yeah, I'm doing this again. So it's worth it.
Well, and they're tools. That's one nice thing about dies. I'll give you that pitch for sure, is, unless you're losing stuff or breaking, you're only buying it once. It's a timeless tool. It'll last you forever. You can be making that pop-up card, as many times as you want to. And then when you're completely tired of it, you can gift it to somebody else and they can make pop-up cards for 10 more years. You know what I mean? So that's the beauty of dies, is that once you start die cutting, that's where you're getting all your embellishments, and scraps become really valuable, right? So you have a little tiny piece of glitter paper that's only this big. You don't recycle that or throw that away. You're like, I can get a heart and, 2 stars out of that little tiny piece. So,
Well, and something you mentioned earlier when somebody asked about digital, I would say digital doesn't last forever. It's a changing constantly. They up version or they change something. And somebody was telling us, I think it was Silhouette this morning. Ellie Mae was saying Silhouette's changing their version, and she may have to upload all of the things that she's created into this new version of Silhouette.
Oh, right.
Right. So digital's wonderful, but digital has a challenge of they change so fast that sometimes what you did 4 years ago is no longer technically, but a die, that doesn't happen. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So we have someone I got hooked on one summit and now buy something each summit. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
I just had fun die cutting and saving. Coupons, free shipping. I'm not sure what that is. We do our best, but thank you so much for everything that you've shared. I think you've gotten people in love with what you're doing. And if you're coming back and watching the video, don't forget that if you have any questions, just let us know. You can post them in the video. You can post them in the Facebook group. We'll pass them on. And we really appreciate the fact that you have come and you're one of our sponsors, and you can see how much love people have for what you're doing. So really appreciate that. Someone said you don't need electricity either to use the manual dies. There's a point. You can be in that woods and nowhere and still
absolutely can be in that woods, or watching TV like me with the die cutter on your lap.
Yeah. So here's a question for somebody who doesn't really know: do die cutters make noise?
Well, a little bit. Obviously, if you have an electric machine, yes, but the manual ones, not too much. Are you worried about getting snuck up on by a bear?
No, not worried about that at all.
I've used my die cutting machine, so I can show you what it is.
Oh, I know you can.
And I'm not the card maker either, but
you can show me a lot. We have had a great conversation. So I love what you do. Stuff is gorgeous. So thank you so much for being part of our summit, for sponsoring it, for being our event sponsor. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who's joined us live. We have 73 people live still, and there'll be a lot more who watch the replay. So thank you so much. Go and check out their website. And if you're making something, or even if you've ever made something with one of our dies, please post it in the Facebook group. So post it, share it, because that's what they really love. That's the feedback that gets them going. And you can tell by Karen's energy that she just loves what she's doing. And so some of the best appreciation for that is just seeing what you guys can create with all of this beautiful stuff.
Yes, thank you.
It's excellent. So thank you, everybody. If you have questions, like I said, post them in the group. And we're back at 5 o'clock with someone.
I know Shannon Smith.
Shannon, I was going to say, I'm almost sure it's Shannon, but it's hard to keep it up to remember who's who. Thank you so much. Thank you for crafting. Thank you for being here. Super appreciate it. Super appreciate everybody. And we will chat with you. And check out their website. Make sure to check out their website. Go on ours.
Burniston.
Sign up for their draw and get the instructions that they said. It'll get you lots of great information. So really support our sponsors. And we appreciate it. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.